the whole financial system
Yeah.
will be shunned, and the people in crypto will be hunted and will be brought to justice by these government agencies. This cannot be the intro, Christian. This cannot be the intro. All right, welcome back, everybody, to Tech Talk, where we discuss the week in tech. As always, I'm joined by Ryan and Christian. Yeah, guys, how's it going?
Hey, guys.
Good. Still kind of hot outside, so.
Yeah, we're smack bang in the middle of summer right now, I think so. But yeah, so Christian, what's up, man? What's been going on?
Alrighty, Tigger. Our first topic for the day. The Federal Trade Commission failed to land an injunction pausing the Microsoft-Activision deal. Microsoft maintained that the FTC's appeal filing did not identify a single legal error in the court's reasoning, nor any reason that further complaints would actually change the outcome of the case. It appears the judge agreed with that. The appeal will go to the Ninth Circuit Court soon. Ryan, does this show a sudden disinterest from courts with regards to cases like this?
That's a good question. Maybe to some extent. I think it has a lot to do with the FTC's who's the woman? Can't think of her name. Something Khan. Trying to find her name. But
Alina Khan.
Yes, she's lost several of these different mega corporation cases, it seems. And I think with this, it felt a lot like, specifically when Microsoft, it felt a lot like the FTC was trying to protect Sony itself and PlayStation. And I don't know. It's one of those weird spaces. Like, this is clearly going to go through. And people have known that for kind of a while now. And it just feels like the FTC is kind of grandstanding and trying to not necessarily protect the people, right? It's like, clearly they're not trying to protect consumers. And I think the judge kind of realizes that. And even so, and Microsoft still is going to drop some cloud business in the UK, which is a bit different. But clearly they want this to go through and they're willing to do whatever it takes. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see. Well, we still have, I think, about a month left until this actually does go through, right? So to see what the Ninth Circuit will do. So yeah, it is what it is.
You think it's like maybe a play on the FTC's part to kind of discourage other mega corporations from, like, creating these, maybe not monopolies, but I don't know what you call, like 2 or 3 companies that like hold a lot of this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like Google comes in and wants to buy this one, and then whatever comes in and wants to buy another one. Then you have like Alphabet, Meta, you know what I'm saying, Microsoft, that again pretty much has a lock on this video gaming
space
sector.
Yeah, I think it really depends. I think it depends, right? Because so this is about a year or so ago when Take-Two bought forget the mobile company, Zynga, I think it was. That was pretty big. So
yeah,
the thing with this merger, it's like people keep talking about Call of Duty and keep talking about was it World of Warcraft, right? As big products that Microsoft wants. But the major thing is King, right? Like Activision owns King, the mobile sector. Like that's huge for Microsoft, especially with what they're trying to go with cloud gaming, with Xbox Game Pass, this type of stuff. Like, so in that regard, I think it really depends on like what type of company. So if Meta came in and said, we want to buy Twitter, that would be huge. And I think the FTC would actually crack down on that potentially, because then where would the competition be? Right. I mean,
right.
I think it really depends on the type that we're talking about. And this is probably the biggest deal in gaming that there has ever been. It's like strange because Microsoft has been gobbling up companies left and right. It's like Where are they going to go next? I'd be curious to see what Sony's answer is. That's like, I think, the biggest news, I think, when in regards to this. It's like, what's Sony going to do? It's not like they have to. Sony's still on top in terms of, market share, I feel like, and just, overall enjoyment. People love what Sony's doing right now. But they're going to have to make an answer to this, clearly, because in the next year or two, with Activision and Blizzard under Microsoft's guise, it might be a big problem for Sony. If they don't have something like, for instance, Square Enix, or probably From Software. I wouldn't doubt that Sony tries to, or at least attempts to buy.
Square Enix.
It's not in my opinion, it's not the last time we'll see something like this. Obviously.
Yeah, I don't think Square Enix would actually sell.
I doubt either would sell. I doubt either of them. Maybe From Software.
Because I think, based from experience, they actually approached. I think it was actually Sony that actually gave them their break. They wouldn't want to sour that relationship, because before, I think Squaresoft actually, based on my understanding, Squaresoft actually approached Nintendo first, because I think Nintendo was delving into CDs before, and
this is back when, like, Final Fantasy VII, before Final Fantasy VII,
right?
Yeah.
And Nintendo doesn't want the CD to be at the forefront. They still want to maintain the cartridge, because the N64 is upcoming. So I think Sony was the one who actually provided them with a platform to release their games. This was back when they were called not even Square Enix. They were Squaresoft back then.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. All right. Yeah.
So going back to Microsoft, like, in terms of genre, this Activision games actually fill any genres that Microsoft is actually missing? Like,
that's a great question. I mean, Microsoft is missing sorely with big bombastic, like almost like movies. Like, Sony has or PlayStation says PlayStation, their games are very much like cinematic experiences as opposed to like video games. Like God of War, the recent Final Fantasy 16. They're like,
doesn't Microsoft
you're like playing
have
a movie.
Halo as their cinematic
but that's
experience?
Not necessarily, no. Not in the sense that, like, not in the sense where cutscenes are very much interactive. Even Horizon Forbidden West had similar aspects of that. Like this, what I'm saying is Microsoft doesn't have a big, huge single player experience like that, and I think Activision could bring that potentially. Maybe in some sort of old, like, people were talking about Prototype. I don't know if you guys remember Prototype.
Yeah, I remember Prototype.
Old IP that they could easily bring back and make kind of cool depending on how they approach it. I haven't really looked, but there's definitely some other, like, even Sekiro, right? Sekiro, that was made by From Software, but is owned by Activision IP. So where that could be an Xbox exclusive, Sekiro 2 could be an Xbox exclusive for all we know.
So these are things that, like, thought that this isn't the case for Monopoly, right? They kind of figured this is just in the defense of Sony.
I think the big problem was Call of Duty going to become an Xbox exclusive? That was like the big complaint. That was like a major problem, and obviously that's not the case. It's not going to be what Microsoft wants to do. I mean, think about it. Like, why would they even close up? Like, that's one of the, I've said it before, it's one of the biggest IP in gaming. You're gonna lose out on the sales on the PlayStation just to spite them? That doesn't make any sense.
That's a bad business move all the way through.
And they want to bring it. They jokingly, I feel like it's a joke, but they really do want to bring it to Nintendo games. Like, they want to bring it to Switch, which I think is ridiculous. But if there is a Switch 2 in the works, which rumors have it that there are, it might be able to play. If there's a Switch 2 that is on par with the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One, you might be able to play COD on that, and it might actually work. So we might be playing Call of Duty on Switches by 2025, which would be nuts, in my opinion.
Yeah, but I don't get,
especially with cloud, right? Especially Microsoft has the cloud, like, down to a T. Like, their cloud backing. I played on the G Cloud, Logitech's G Cloud, and it's just buttery smooth. I mean, maybe it's because I have pretty good internet here. I've tried it on using my phone and it still works pretty good. So, as in like I've used my phone as a hotspot, and it's like I must say that I'm a big PlayStation fan. I will admit that. I'll be the first to admit it. But I do think that Xbox has they have some good stuff going on, especially in the tech side, right? With cloud. I think the cloud infrastructure is pretty phenomenal. And I'm hoping to see it like actually branch into the Switch and stuff.
Yeah, but what I don't get about, of course, not thinking this is also in defense of the consumer, because if Microsoft is going to go after Activision's library, it means those games will be locked to that console now, not necessarily giving consumers. Not necessarily. Do they not have exclusivity upon the acquisition?
No, they don't have to, right? They don't have to. That's the thing. And that's a big problem. Yeah. That's a big problem that a lot of people were having, especially PlayStation, about Call of Duty. Jim Ryan, a ton of other PlayStation people were involved with this whole FTC thing. Nvidia, I think, even too got involved.
Yeah.
And that shows to you just how important Call of Duty alone is to the gaming ecosystem. But no, Microsoft doesn't have to make it exclusive, right? It's really up to them. I mean, Starfield was supposed to come out. I think Starfield was actually supposed to be a PlayStation exclusive until Microsoft bought Cinemax, right? Bethesda.
Yeah, well, okay, I have a question for you, Ryan.
Yeah.
Okay, so they said, right, that Microsoft executives said in court that they do not intend to restrict customer access to video game titles, and the judge believed them, which I don't know how you would even, other than like a court order stating that you cannot. But I think, like you said, it doesn't make sense business wise, right? Like they'd lose millions of dollars if they said this is only for Xbox or whatever. But do you think there's a chance that they will restrict it for maybe the Quest, right? Like you can't, you know what I'm saying? The coming in the future, maybe competitors.
Next console and stuff?
Yeah, it's like, no, y'all can't
I don't think so. I could see, maybe not Call of Duty specifically, but other games, maybe. Other titles, potentially, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. Honestly, I would not be surprised if everything aside from Call of Duty becomes an Xbox exclusive. I would not be surprised. Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean that's also a good point, right?
They need people to buy the console, right? I mean, they literally need people to buy the Xbox Series X. I mean, not necessarily because again, Game Pass is pretty big, but the console is taking a huge hit against the PlayStation 5, and they need something. They need people to, because Halo Infinite came out and it went right, like it released and the multiplayer was garbage, and people it didn't draw hype. People weren't like, oh, I need to get a Series X to. Whereas PlayStation 5, you have a ton, like a whole library of awesome exclusives.
Yeah, that people especially right now that the scalping situation for PS5 is actually over. Like it was bad before, but they're still gaining sales.
It was pretty bad for the Series X too. People are still selling Series X pretty substantially too, but people were selling those for like 700, whereas the PS5 was like 1,000 plus, right?
Yeah.
Like ridiculous numbers. It goes to show just the extent of like people wanting the system more.
Right. Well, on the same legs as future consoles, what about future titles? You know what I'm saying? Like kind of like these titles have been kind of grandfathered in, right? Like, okay, keep Call of Duty, keep, World of Warcraft, keep all these things also over there. But as Activision creates new, because there's a history of them hitting home runs with these games. Then Microsoft, like, everything prior to this date, whatever, cross console, fine. Everything after this date, Microsoft exclusives.
Potentially. I mean, again, that's kind of what they did with Bethesda. So I wouldn't be surprised if certain games do become Xbox exclusive. Like I said, Sekiro 2, like if there ever is a Sekiro 2, I wouldn't be surprised if that's an Xbox exclusive. But for Call of Duty, I don't know about Call of Duty. Maybe they make a game, I don't even know like the resources there. Like maybe they make a game that's specific to the Xbox. Like they have Sledgehammer make a game that's an Xbox exclusive. That might look bad. I mean, they might look bad in like the FTC's, face, right? That's like,
Right.
oh shit, like, you know, you just
Yeah,
so there's a new Call of Duty coming out by the end of the year, and a lot of people were scared, like, oh, are they gonna like they don't have they can't do that, like they can't just change, you know, this is
Yeah.
only on this system now. They can't just do that in the middle of development.
Right.
I'm just
The
currently
future, maybe,
realizing how
maybe
I'm just currently
it would take a
realizing how
while.
big this acquisition is. Like there is
It's
also one
insane.
IP that's included.
Mm,
It's actually Warcraft.
Yeah. No, World of Warcraft is pretty big, and you know,
yeah.
obviously that's a PC thing. It's not necessarily like a console war thing, but it's still pretty big for Xbox to own that. I mean, like I
Mm,
was talking to Christian earlier before the show, and I was talking about like once they own it, like what kind of games are we going to see on Game Pass now? Because that's kind of what they did. So like Fallout New Vegas and Fallout 3, all these awesome
Yeah.
games are on Game Pass now because Xbox owns Bethesda. So like what are we going to see Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, like the original? Like we're going to see that on Game Pass? I hope. I hope we get these awesome games on Game Pass. That'd be amazing. That would be so sick.
mm.
We talked about Prototype. Let's see that. Sekiro will probably get added for sure. Like these things are like pretty sick, and I don't know. I'm curious to see also what they do with the mobile sector. Like
This
what like
feels more like the conversation that Disney Plus is having now. That it would have
yeah,
just been better if Disney Plus was just a repository of old entertainment content that they had before, rather than
as opposed to
releasing
churning
there,
out. Yeah.
as opposed to
Yeah.
churning out and actually diminishing values of new ones.
Yeah.
Mm,
I think the problem that they just did way too much. They tried to do way too
Yeah,
much. I mean,
they
you could say the
way too
same
much.
about the gaming community too, right? I mean, look at the sports games and all that stuff. These stuff come out yearly. They're just never that
mm,
good. It's like take some time and like actually develop something that it's worthwhile. They look at Call of Duty.
Well,
There's a game that comes out every year, or maybe even
yeah.
two sometimes. They're never perfect. Some are pretty good, but they're never perfect. You take some time, give it some leeway. Especially people are pretty excited with Microsoft owning Activision Blizzard just because of management. Like Activision has been in, you know, hell because of its you know, sexual
you were
allegations,
talking
stuff like
about
that.
releasing older titles in Game Pass. Like, how is the backwards compatibility when it comes to Microsoft?
In what sense?
Older games
Because
running on
they
newer
have that lot.
consoles.
Like on the Series X. I don't own a Series X, but if you have a Series X, you can plug in Red Dead from the 360 and it'll work. So yeah,
Mm,
their backwards compatibility has always been on point. It's one of the big things about Microsoft over Sony and Nintendo is they care about their older games more so than the
Mm,
other two companies. And again, look at Game Pass. Look at how much like they've added to Game Pass, and they've kept GTA 5 is now on there. Like that's pretty sick. Like I think Microsoft has a pretty good value, right? When you
mhm.
actually are in it in the ecosystem. But I
yeah.
think PlayStation just has better software. Like that's it's unfortunate as it is, but right. I mean, what makes you want to buy a console, right? It's the games. Like that's
Mm,
the most
right.
important aspect. And Microsoft has not delivered in that aspect. Like it's just not. Their games are good. They're good, but they're not like I'm gonna run out and buy a system now kind of
So
good.
in your personal opinion, Ryan, as a gamer, um, is this good
Yeah,
if it goes through?
for sure. For sure. I mean,
Okay.
just for the sheer fact that Bobby Kotick won't be in CEO position, won't be in a higher up position. And I feel like a lot of other bad apples are going to be taken out too. I hope, at least we hope, right? But
Okay.
yes, this is very good. There are a lot of PlayStation fanboys that are pissed, and I'm sure Sony is not going to be happy. But this is obviously good for the ecosystem, right? This is kind of similar in the same context with the Threads versus Twitter thing. Like this is competition. This is pretty beefy competition for Sony, and we'll see how they answer. Like that's my biggest thing. I want to see how Sony answers this, if they do at all. Like
Right.
I think the answer would be to buy From Software. That would be the answer. It'd be huge. That'd be massive. Will they do that? Who knows? I mean, they have the capital for sure.
So we
Yeah,
pretty
Right.
much can see that this is a win for Microsoft now, right?
I think it's just not only for Microsoft, but just like a win for the gaming community and on the whole, right? As a whole,
Yeah. So
I think yeah.
do you think 69 billion is a fair price?
I mean, maybe. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty. I think that's generous. If you ask me, I think it's
Hmm.
pretty generous.
Would
I
you
mean, Call
consider
of
it?
Duty alone is pretty big. Like, you're
Would you
talking
consider
about
it?
multiple pretty big IPs.
Would you consider it overpaying? Kind of like
Maybe
flexing, like
to an
more like an
extent.
offer you can't refuse type thing.
We're talking
I
about
wouldn't
the
be
gift situation
surprised.
again.
I wouldn't be surprised if Kotick, if like the deals like were, if Kotick tried to get more and more and more. Remember, I told you guys last week is that Kotick's buyout, his stocks will be like 400 million or something like that, and that's just from his stock
Mhm.
like portfolio.
Right.
Who knows how much he actually gets, beyond that. But yeah, I mean, it's just like obviously it's a bit. I think it's a bit much, but I mean, most are overshooting.
Right. Well, let's shift from let's shift from overpaid Activision to overpaid activists. Right.
Activists.
Right. From Activision to activists. Yeah, what do you got about the whole SAG problem?
Okay, here it is coming from an underpaid newsreader. After unsuccessful negotiations with Hollywood studios regarding AI replicas, SAG-AFTRA declared a strike on Thursday. The declaration comes, I'm not kidding, I'm underpaid, after more than 2 months since the Writer Guild of America initiated their own strike due to a separate conflict with the AMPTP. Chris, will the SAG-AFTRA strike affect the conditions in the WGA strike?
I don't know, strength in numbers, strike while the iron's hot, ganging up on the underdog at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like, or maybe not the underdog, but it's like a pile on almost.
I
Um,
know they're like striking together, right? I think some
yeah,
of them
yeah,
are
they
like
like joined
in.
forces. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess it shines more light on it. It's more voices, more powerful voices. Screaming the same thing. Um, I don't know, like personally, I have a difficult time. I get it from the writer's standpoint, like, no one, because I mean, they are the brain power, right? Like without writers, then a pretty face, nobody, the silent era is over. You gotta have compelling stories,
Mhm.
you gotta have, good plots, you gotta have well-rounded characters, and all those things. Brad Pitt doesn't do that. You know what I'm saying? He just fills that role. The people behind the scenes are who, really make these things engaging. They are really what drive this entire industry, in my opinion. Like it doesn't matter who's in the movie. If the movie sucks, it sucks. And
that's
if
a good point.
that's why you have breakout stars, right? You don't know who the fuck this person is, but they're in a really good movie, and then they're catapulted into the next stratosphere. So, I mean, I think
That's a great point.
maybe the SAG, maybe those guys or whatever it is, the Screen Actors Guild. I'm sure they recognize this, and they're kind of like, guys, we have to back these people up because if not for them, none of us would be here.
It's been
Well,
70
well
days since
put.
the start of the strike for SAG, so
Yeah,
it's still ongoing. So
yeah.
would this lengthen it more?
Oh,
Uh,
well,
I think,
I don't know. I don't know.
Like I
I don't
have to
know.
stress this point.
I'm gonna
The
go with
only
yes
time the
because the
only time
studios
there
don't give
has
a shit.
been the only time there has been a strike in the US where both the actors and the writers are actually involved was 63 years ago, back in 1960, where the conflict was actually about residuals. That
Mm,
was the only time it was affected. The subsequent strikes were just for the writers with regards to cable and as well as DVDs.
this is
Now
in
they're both facing AI because of like what was said, because of the use of facial features using
mm,
AI.
yeah,
So
yeah.
this would be the first instance that I think this generation would actually see two major players within the entertainment industry actually try to twist the arm of upper Hollywood management. Like
yeah,
I never
I
experienced
think
this
that's the
before.
point, right?
Yeah, it is.
It's not
So
so much the money, right? I mean, money is definitely a factor for sure, especially when it comes to
yeah,
the writers. I don't think the actors so much care about the money part as it is the AI part.
Yeah.
Because just look at what was it? Rogue One. Rogue One had what's his name? I can't think of his name, but there was some actor they essentially brought back to life. And I mean, look at Paul Walker, what they did with Paul Walker and Fast and Furious 7 or whatever it was. And those weren't necessarily AI, right? Like they had actors there and they like just, essentially brought them back to life through technology and stuff. But like these are just already examples of how people that are even dead can act now. Like who do you pay for that? Who are you paying for that? And how does that like there's a lot of questions that come to that, especially when it comes to smaller, less no offense, but less important people in the pipeline, like background actors and stuff that can easily be replaced with AI imagery and stuff like that. And yeah, it just kind of cheapens the whole experience, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We're in such a weird situation.
I feel like these guys and gals were pushed maybe they felt as though they're on the verge of being put in a very difficult position. So it's kind of like the growl before the bite. You know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, like, look, we see what's happening here, and we're going to nip it in the bud right now. And as far as the actors falling in, I think it's just the decent. I mean, God knows, I don't know how many of them are decent people, but I'm sure most of them are. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all human. I think it's just a very decent thing to do.
Yeah, the sad thing about this is one group of people can actually afford a lengthy strike. The other one can't.
That's true.
That is key. That is key right there. It's like really interesting how the actors make so much money,
and
whereas the
Hollywood
writers don't
studios
make much of anything.
Yeah, Hollywood studios, Netflix, I think is the most important part of the deal that they all wanted to get, because Netflix hasn't been budging so much and actually I think doesn't want to negotiate anymore.
I don't think any of them do.
They're not gonna get anywhere with this. Sooner or later, they're gonna have to settle with what they're given to them. This is, I think, this is show business. You don't get what you deserve here. You get what you bargain for.
Yeah, very true.
Interesting.
But I think you made a good point about the actors can, a long strike doesn't. But I mean, just because they make millions, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
not all
more money, more problems.
I want to stress that like not all of them make that much money. Only the select people at the top.
Even I think not necessarily A-list level actors are and are not going to be affected by this. Even B-list, C-list, and D-list ones are actually affected, particularly if they're member of the Screen Actors Guild. The funny thing is, a couple of YouTubers are also affected by this because some of them are under contract and they're based by Screen Actors Guild in WGA scenarios. So this actually also spills over to our area.
Yeah, interesting.
So there are certain YouTubers that are actually part of the Screen Actors Guild. Now the main issue here, I think, this has gone on for so long.
Does that mean they can't make videos?
No, there are certain stipulations, I think, in YouTube, particularly if they're just employed under a certain YouTuber's contract, but not necessarily under their own production, that they can do it.
Interesting. God, it's so it's so. Well, I did read recently, the Game of Thrones spinoff. Actually, they can film wherever they are. I think in the UK because of like their policies there. So some like you're gonna get some content right over the years, but it's gonna be interesting. Like within a year from now, maybe even two, like what we get movie wise, what we get TV wise, because it's all gonna be like either shit or nothing. We're not gonna add anything. Like most of the Disney slate has been pushed or like reorganized. Like I know Deadpool 3 got pushed to the top now, right?
But I feel this shouldn't have taken this long. Like studios already know what type of money they want to let go. Like this could have been done easily after just one sit down. Like do
you think the executives are paid too much? Like Bob Iger makes $25 million.
I don't think an
Plus.
executive is actually paid little. Not one of them. But then again, no company wants to let go of a single digit in their bank account. That's just pretty
That's the
basic.
problem.
Everyone
That's the
knows it.
biggest problem, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the
So
big problem is that, and you know, again, it's not. I really do feel for the actors and stuff. Not so much the ones that already have millions, but I do feel for the ones
Right,
that
right,
are
right.
D-list and stuff. And again, I don't think it has much. I mean, obviously, money is a thing, but I do think AI, the AI portion, is very important. I mean,
but I'm kind of thinking that
just
people might be overreacting regarding this. This could be another situation where we had the strike back in 2007, where the main reason for the strike was actually DVDs. And after 4 years, you can't actually sell DVDs unless it's made of gold. So
Mm.
the
Yeah, they're not even
scenario
collectors.
or the industry just suddenly adapted
mm,
and innovated to move away from it.
Well, I
So
mean,
could this be
why
another
not?
thing like that?
Yeah, I think so. But like, why not give AI a chance?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, actually.
You know
Like,
what I
could
mean?
this
I
Like,
don't know.
let's see.
just be,
Let
yeah,
let
I think they already
AI.
have, haven't they?
I
I
mean,
think they already
I'm not.
have, and it's just not good.
I
It's
mean, I'm
not
talking
good.
about like a fully AI generated full length motion picture and see
It'll
how it
be
does.
garbage.
I
I'm
I mean, yeah,
convinced it'll be garbage. Nothing beats
absolutely. I mean,
human imagination, right?
right. I
I
mean,
Now,
think
you
I
got to
could,
have
it would be curious, like if we gave the like, what do we give the AI, right? What do we give the AI
mm,
to make that stuff? Human created stuff. It's not like we have.
right.
What are we gonna? I don't know. Give AI stuff like to create. So it's not necessarily
Well,
the
I
AI's
will
creation, right? Like it's still
the
human created through AI. If that makes sense. Like you
the
still have to give
opening
the AI
for
feed. Like you still have to input stuff. You still have to input
yeah,
movies from the past for it to
right, right, right.
create a movie.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does absolutely. The intro for Secret Invasion is pretty badass, and that's AI
Oh,
generated.
people are giving that shit, and I love it. I love it
I
for the
think
for
it.
the. You think it's bad?
I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's great, and
Yeah,
because but that correlates with what the show's going for, right? It makes sense in the
right.
context of what the show's like perspective, like what it's telling you.
Hey, it's almost like it's a layer type thing, right? Secret Invasion. Could this not also apply to AI? You know what I mean? Like here they come, or here it comes, or whatever the hell. It's like
like
not
the same
Yeah,
full
thing could be
Secret
said with,
Invasion.
like with DVDs. Like, I don't think people actually remember where Netflix actually started.
Mm,
with
you
DVDs, I
know,
do.
Right.
Oh
yeah,
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 And
me
like
what's
too.
Netflix
Redbox, similar
now?
to Redbox.
It's actually streaming right now, which actually
Mm,
Yeah,
people are complaining about when it comes to residuals. Then
yeah,
all of a sudden AI, maybe in a couple of years, people would have adapted to it. Untrained people in using AI, these type of writers will actually find a way to utilize this tool. AI can't suddenly uninvent itself. It's actually just here. For
yeah.
now, you could just negotiate for what you're given and
interesting.
just continue
Well, I mean,
working
Yeah,
with it.
I always make the
yeah.
same analogy, right? Like you have to imagine. I don't know if I've said this on the show before, but you have to imagine the last horse salesman in Detroit, right? This dude
Yeah.
was not happy about the invention of cars. You know what I'm saying? He's like, no, these are fucking terrible. No, 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 because he's a horse salesman. You know what I'm saying? Now you're going to buy, they're
Mm.
putting him out of business. But now look, nothing happens without motor vehicles. You know what I'm saying? So it's just that it's like the evolution of technology where I mean we
Well,
don't need horse salesmen anymore.
there's some like gamers, I think it's called like GAMURS, the site gamers. I think I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure gamers is hiring or was hiring for what is called an AI editor. Essentially,
Hmm.
you work with AI and you edit the content that comes out, which I think is people were very much annoyed and very much like, like this is not good. But it's interesting in my
Hmm.
eyes. Like it's interesting how, as you said, we're adapting. We're adapting to
Right.
this AI now. Like, sure, we're not gonna like it. We're not gonna like it. It's yucky. It's
Hmm.
very yucky. But like,
Hmm.
this is kind of how what we have to do now. You're absolutely right. Like
Right.
we're in new times and like we have AI, it's here to stay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is kind of what we have to do.
We are three
Yeah.
potential victims here on screen. I would just like to
Yeah.
point that here.
Hey man, I'm gonna
Yeah,
be
but
AI. I'm gonna be the first. I'm gonna be super AI. I'm gonna
hey,
be.
I'm gonna tell
And I
you
think
right now, I played with Chat GPT when it first came out. I haven't touched it in months now because it's I don't know. But to get it to do exactly what you want it to do, that's a skill set all in itself.
Yeah.
Like, how do I
You have to
guide
be super
this
specific.
robot? Yeah, you have to. Yeah, and even within your super specificity, it's still too specific. So it's like this is not completely what I wanted, you know. So, like you're talking about the AI editor. I mean, if you can master how to talk to this shit, then that's a $1 million skill right there. You know, like I can what may take me 2 months to perfect. Like I tried to do a comic book, AI generated comic book, right? I was like, I want to see what this does. It's so fucking hard to get it to do, you know, to take what's here and tell this machine what I want. It's nearly impossible. It would take me probably a fair guess would be maybe 2 or 3 months to get the output that I wanted.
Yeah.
Whereas if you have somebody that could do that in a day, bro, that's such a valuable skill set. I don't think we have that yet.
Yeah, and I think going back to the whole SAG thing, I think I should have prefaced my statement first that I am with the writers on this one. Like I just feel that they can move this way, and I don't agree with the studios trying to starve them out now. I think that's pretty much what their lawyer said regarding the
It is
negotiation.
insanely ridiculous.
But here's the thing. If the money was on the other side and they can outlive Hollywood executives, they would do the same thing because that's an advantage when it comes to
Well, I mean,
negotiating.
it's a negotiation. It's not a, you know, it's
That's,
not a friendly
people keep
discussion.
saying that, but is it a negotiation? I feel like it's very much like, not a negotiation. It's like I don't even know what you call it.
It's
like
a
a standoff.
negotiation. We don't
like
know whether they actually were
The
given
Mexican
an
standoff.
initial.
It's like it's not
We don't know
necessarily
whether they
because
were actually given an initial offer for this and how much it was. Maybe it was supposed to be what it was supposed to be, but they actually rejected it. Then it actually just dwindled and dwindled. All of a sudden, companies suddenly realize, hey, we have much more funds to actually outlive them. Let's just weather the storm a bit. They will need work. They will be coming back. We have other options. Don't know what it is, but they, being companies, they have contingency plans for this. This was not a surprise thing for them. This was actually planned.
Yeah.
Right.
My problem is you just can't replicate creativity like imagination.
No, you
It
can't.
all comes from the soul.
That I agree with.
That's where the whole AI editor thing comes in handy.
Yeah, it
it does 99% of the work. You put in a 1% part and you're done.
Netflix kind of is a villain here, but in a sense, it's actually a lesson for people. Like they were actually the DVD guys before.
Yeah.
Then they actually adapted to the situation.
Yeah, but I mean, how can a writer adapt to, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I full-heartedly believe that eventually we will not see a physical actor in a movie. Like they will license their likeness. Like The Rock will license his likeness to Paramount, and they'll just be slapping his face on every fucking thing.
Has any one of you actually watched Final Fantasy Spirits Within?
No.
That would be the answer to your question.
Oh shit!
Why?
Homework.
For our Tech Times audience, if you have time, please look at Final Fantasy Spirits Within and see what
is that the one that tanked?
Actually look like. To see what realistic non-actors actually look like.
Well, it's also interesting now too. We're getting I saw Dead Reckoning the other day, and they super heavily de-aged what's his name, Tom Cruise, and it's like they're gonna keep these actors alive too, like these A-list actors alive through de-aging techniques like this and stuff. So
that's
AI is gonna play a pivotal role in making Hollywood just keep going, right? Like Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt, these actors that are like almost in their 70s, they're gonna still be acting.
What I hate about
when they're dead,
the use of AI right here is they're actually strong arming people, ones that can actually fight back into taking their IPs just for a day's work. That's not right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's one of those obstacles that's got to be, it was inevitable, right? This is one of the things that was going to happen as soon as AI become prolific, and they just have to fucking figure it out, man. Like, that's really all they can do. They're going to have to come to an agreement, or cut ties, or get a whole new batch of writers in. Like, it's going to come to a head. They're going to resolve it,
and this is
and then that's where we are as
and I'm not
consumers.
usually as political as you guys, but I think the government should step in on this one, because a certain
No,
state is actually hurting when it comes to its economy, because California's major industry is actually Hollywood.
Yeah.
fuck
Yeah.
California.
I mean, now that the actors are kind of striking, I do think the government has an incentive to do something. But what are they going to do?
There was a political move back then when the coal miners actually made their strike. It was called jawboning, where the government actually steps in to to mediate the deals, especially if it's going to be hurting their town's economy. It's still active now.
Now, who would that involve, though? Would that involve the
That would involve
the
whoever
state?
is actually in charge of the state and actually
Would that,
sitting down
yeah, it
with
would
them.
be a state thing as opposed to federal, right?
Yeah.
Well, California is a shithole anyway. Like, their whole state government.
Yeah.
Their whole
But
state
they still have
government
to do something about it, right? I mean,
Yeah, they do.
right, but I
that's
mean,
the funny thing. It's like, you say that, right? And it kind of paints a perspective. Like, will they? Will they do anything? Probably not. Maybe not.
they can't
Right?
fix the roads. You know what I'm saying? It's they got the highest tax bracket in the country, and the roads are terrible. They can't clean up the homeless. There's so many things that they cannot do. This would just be another thing that they can't do. I mean, I feel like,
and we can only hope that Hollywood will make a movie about this.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Yeah, Matt Damon. Yeah,
made by AI.
But yeah, all right. Let's shift gears from people that are upset about not getting paid to people that surprisingly are getting paid. I seen this on Twitter. I seen this on Twitter, and from what I could tell from the few posts that I've seen, people were shocked that they were receiving.
Some people are annoyed.
Yeah, some people are annoyed too. Yeah. So what's the synopsis here, Christian?
Okay. Our third topic for the day: Twitter has finally launched an ad sharing program for its content creators, making good on a promise that owner Elon Musk take a shot first made to his users in February. Twitter is pushing for more ads, and select content creators on the social media platform will now be able to get a share of the revenue earned from ads that appear in the reply threads. Ryan, can this be what sets it apart from the incoming thread posted by Threads?
Maybe. The thing with Threads is, like, Twitter is already a well-known establishment. Threads has Instagram, sure, but I mean, if you look, I believe you can look even that the hype around Threads is already tapered off. Like, if you look at Twitter users and like the growth there compared to Threads has kind of fallen off a little bit over the past 2 weeks. So will it challenge Threads? Maybe it'll challenge Threads to some degree. Will it keep people off Threads? Probably not. Like, people are still going to join Threads. People are still going to especially Instagram people who love Instagram. I feel like I said this before, but Instagram and Threads, they're going to go hand in hand. That ecosystem's going to live over there. People who love Instagram are going to do Threads. People who love Twitter, people who were on Twitter, people who love like YouTube, stuff like this, they're going to stick to Twitter, I think. Just because that's what they've known. Like, even for me personally, I found myself opening Twitter far more than I do Threads, just because it's like, it's like a habit, right? It's like a habit. You open Twitter, it's like a habitual thing. But I do think this is good. I think this is a good thing, right? I mean, especially for creators. Maybe we get Twitter creators now. I know Christian was joking about that earlier, but I mean, there kind of already are. I think there kind of already are Twitter creators, especially like people who are involved in like
they're just called trolls, right?
Well, I mean, I
think those live everywhere, right?
I mean, I think Twitter. For me, Twitter is like you know what I'm saying? Like, you hear things about, social media influencers, right? And most often and please correct me if I'm wrong, but most often social media influencers influence by way of video or pictures, right? People want to look like them. People want to have the shit that they have. People want to go the places that they go. Twitter is more of a, and I'm going to use this word lightly, it's more of an intellectually influencing place, right? Because it's primarily text. It's your opinion, your perspective, whether or not people engage with that, like, not based on, your tits and ass. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is more of a genuine. Either way it goes, incredibly rude or incredibly supportive. Either way it goes, the reactions are more so based on your opinion, above almost anything else. Unless, of course, everybody knows that you're, just, some, jackass, and, like Rob Reiner. Nobody gives a shit about that dude.
I don't know what that is.
The requirement is for you to have a blue check mark, right?
Yeah,
But
you have to
that's not
Twitter
gonna
blue.
be
You
the
have to have
thing.
Twitter blue. I think, or I could be wrong, but it's I know for a fact Twitter blue is a thing to get paid for this. But
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, right?
You also, I think, if you have 1 million followers, you also get the option. I could be wrong, but I think I read that somewhere. Don't quote me on that. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty
Won't it be
sure.
hard for brands to actually advertise on these platforms? This toxicity is actually what sells Twitter. Will people all of a sudden behave just for the ads?
No,
No.
no shot. No.
What attracts me to Twitter? I'm not attracted to the toxicity. I do get a kick out of it, depending on, who's pissed off at what. Sometimes it is entertaining. It's the real time. It's the incredible amount of information that if you know what to search, there's an incredible amount of real time information on Twitter.
Yeah, well put.
This shit just happened.
Yeah. And like I said, I mean, for a lot of like news people, like I know, what's his name, The Verge. I forget his name. The head editor for The Verge, essentially. I keep forgetting his name, but he has subscriptions on. People can get, like, I guess, no, maybe not early news, but like I guess news bits and like extra stuff from subscribing to him. So there's like content there that people can make, for their communities, which is kind of cool. Beyond what they already make, beyond what they already are doing.
This,
I think it's pretty cool.
yeah, for me, this is kind of hard for advertisers, don't you think? Like, if I was gonna advertise on a platform, on an influencer, pretty much everyone has a million history when it comes to tweets. Like, for instance, Kevin Hart's was actually found out a couple of years. And let's say, what was his offensive tweet about before? Was it
like the homophobic thing?
Oh,
like
if branding is actually pro LGBTQ, how can they be assured that the influencer that their ads are actually showing up in doesn't have a history like that?
They can't. They can't.
Right.
I mean, that's the risk, right? That's the risk with almost any like social media advertising. Look at YouTube. I mean,
any sponsorship, really. Like, fucking look at Bud Light.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whoops.
Yeah. Well, Bud Light was actually just their choice. They weren't actually done in by an old tweet. It was actually a recent move.
Yeah, but it's kind of the same thing. Like, anytime you put your brand, you attach your brand to anything, you're taking a major risk.
Yeah, that's what
I imagine. Any of the people that roll ads for Logan Paul, right? Like, who wants to advertise with Logan Paul?
Right.
But I mean, people probably still do. I mean, their companies still do.
But is it directly related to or is it just like randomized, like based on like YouTube does? Right? If I say
that's the question.
If I say fuck, I'm hungry, then the next thing I see on a YouTube commercial is like KFC.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it's catered to like the type of audience. Like, say you're a gaming creator, you're gonna get gaming ads there. I don't know if that's true, but I wouldn't be surprised, right? It's similar again to YouTube and how, like, if you talk about finance on YouTube, you're gonna get finance. You're gonna get a far better CPM than most people
Right.
because yeah,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if it runs similar to that. But it's again, this is like the first instance of it, right? This is like the first time they're kind of like rolling it out. So there probably isn't any like restrictions to it.
I seen some receipts on Twitter from a couple accounts that I follow, and I mean they're showing receipts for like 25K, 12K.
Well,
You
I
know what I'm
saw one
saying?
for 16K. I saw
Yeah.
one for 16K. Yeah. And people are annoyed that people using Elon Musk's platform are making
Yeah.
money, and you're right to that opinion. But I do think it's great for creators, whether or not they're Elon Musk shill or not, that they can make
Right.
money in a whole
Yeah.
totally new area, totally new way.
Yeah. Well, I mean it's 2023, right? Like monetize yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if you make money from Elon Musk, or if you make money from Richard Branson or Zuckerberg or whoever the hell, like, so what?
Do you guys
Make
think
money.
that we can expect future guideline changes for non-blue checkmark users based on this?
I think it depends on following. I think it
Hmm.
very much depends on following.
Well, I mean,
But
what about like an honorary blue check? You know what I'm saying? Like, hell, you have 1 million followers, blue
Like
check
the
your ass.
faded blue.
no shot, no shot, no
No.
shot, no shot. It deletes the
Hmm.
value,
Yeah.
diminishes
Red
the
check,
value of the blue check.
like,
And
like
well, yeah, I mean,
you know what
I
I'm
don't
saying?
see
Like,
that happening. I really don't see that happening. Elon Musk's leadership has proven time and again that he wants he wants money.
right,
He wants it. He wants, no pun intended, but he wants Twitter to be in the blue, right? He doesn't want to be in the red
right,
anymore.
And I kind
So
right.
of think much lower class blue checkmark is just gonna be a participation trophy.
yeah,
Well, I mean, something to show
yeah.
people that the more because if you like a person on Twitter, but they have no check mark, then you don't really have the incentive maybe to interact with this person more so than you would if they were, if you knew that, okay, he's going to make money from this, so I like this guy a lot, I'm going to give him a like or a retweet. You know what I'm saying? Just some type of notifier that this person, like, put a fucking dollar sign beside their name, because they don't have to be in the
Again,
check mark or
I don't think
underline
it'll
it.
work like that.
You don't think so?
No, because again, it comes down to Twitter Blue people. They pay for the Twitter Blue they pay for that subscription.
Well, okay, fair enough.
You know what I mean? Like,
if you're getting paid, if Twitter deems you payable, then
to
pay
get
you
paid,
every month
you have
and
to
deduct.
get paid like this. You have to be a Twitter Blue subscriber.
Well,
Yeah,
they should give them the option of just deduct the money from your pay, and it pays for your fucking blue check mark.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that's I mean, what, like
why not?
$5? I think it's like 5 or 6. It's nothing. It's like nothing.
Yeah.
But,
Okay, we're going to pay you $12,000, but first I'm going to take, I'm going to take, what, $96 to pay for the whole year for your blue check mark from your 12,000. Man, fucking take it, dude. Double it. I don't give a shit. It's $12,000. Pay me up for the next 10 years.
That's the problem, I think,
In
with a lot
terms
of
of them
people
actually
saying,
adopting monetization policies on this, I think it would further slash the members of the content creator program, because sexual content, I think, wouldn't actually fly here like Twitch streamers. I don't know what to the extent they could actually show on Twitter if you're part of this program, like the type of dress you're wearing, what type of age is showing up in your content. Like Twitch has that, right? As a policy.
yeah, you're saying, content guidelines.
Yeah, so if certain monetization policies are actually introduced, a couple of content creators that actually use the program might actually be slashed from it. So it
Depending
is
on their actions.
really gonna be an elite few that will actually be joining this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay, so I want to play the devil's advocate, right? We all know I'm a fan of Elon Musk or whatever. I think he's modern day Da Vinci, if you will. He's the things he's doing.
Elon Musk is your pastor.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at least I know he's real. You know what I'm saying?
Elon Musk, my pastor.
But That's shit I was going to say. Oh, no, devil's advocate. All right. So this is, Elon said in the beginning, right? Twitter is the town square. Like, this is where people come to voice concerns, to be heard. And now it seems like he's creating an elite class.
What do you mean?
Know what I mean? Now, like, the people that get paid, like, they're going to be, the elite class of Twitter. Whereas me, I don't get paid for shit on Twitter.
I see.
Nobody's gonna care about
you're
my
saying
voice.
like a Mr. Beast of Twitter. He's creating essentially like a Mr. like different people that are like akin to Mr. Beast, but for Twitter is what you mean.
Yeah, but I mean, who's going to listen to me as Joe Schmo from down the road when you have somebody that's, blue checked up, making fucking $1 million a year on Twitter? That's the voice everybody's going to. I no longer have a voice as a regular person.
Yeah, but if content creation was more important to you, like if you're actually doing that every day and like tweeting every day, and your opinion was actually like brought to the forefront, I think it would be important. It would like even if you weren't that big on Twitter, like say you had 500,000 subscribers and pretty good following, you still have an incentive to at least try, right? At least like maybe I can make something of the community that I've built. Which is good. I think it's a good thing, right?
But I mean, is Twitter essentially a content creator platform? I mean, that's what YouTube and all this shit for, right? Like,
I would say yes, because we're all creating content on there. It's just words. Sometimes with media, sometimes with video, sometimes with photos, but for the most part, it's words. But it's still content. It's still your creation, your original input.
Right. All right, yeah, well, yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
I mean, that's a decade to actually call it a content creator platform. It was just a messaging platform.
Brought up Reddit, right? You said Reddit was doing something similar, I believe.
Yeah, Reddit's paying people too.
Yeah. Which it kind of goes hand in hand, right? Like,
right. It's kind of a trend, right? Like, use my platform and you might get paid.
Use it well, right? And use it,
I mean, yeah, use it. Yeah. You have the opportunity if you want to like go all in on my platform, no longer like just YouTube, right? For regular people, right? Like if you're not, Instagram really hits the stars. And once you become famous through social media, whether it be, I don't know, we go back as far as Vine or, TikTok, especially now, then that's when they kind of make the transition to Instagram and they start making money off all this shit. So, like prior to that, like YouTube famous was like the pinnacle of, if you become YouTube famous, you've made it. You've made it.
Yeah.
So now these other
ones. Like if you say like, oh, I'm big on Twitter, like, okay, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
So what does that even mean? I'm big on Twitter.
I kind of get what you're saying, Chris, regarding the milestones for Twitter followers. Like having the blue check mark and having an alternative, like it's similar to the plaque that YouTube gives to with the amount of subscribers that you have, right?
Yeah, the different color plaques.
But again, it lessens the incentive for people to want to buy into Twitter Blue, if that makes sense. Like if someone else has a blue check mark just because red check mark kind of diminishes the value of buying into that Twitter Blue that Elon Musk changed. Like, it used to be actual clout, literal clout. Like, before Elon Musk bought Twitter, it was legit. How popular are you? Okay, you have this many people following you, you get a check mark, and or you're like a famous person, whatever it be.
Yeah, I would argue. I would argue that if this was implemented to where a certain amount of money was generated by your account, or you hit a certain threshold of followers, that's a little
as
more
opposed. Is this as opposed not to similar with Reddit?
Well, yeah, exactly. As opposed to being Twitter Blue, yeah. I think you're absolutely right in that regard. I think it shouldn't be locked to Twitter Blue subscribers. I do.
Right. No, but I'm saying like that's more bragging rights, right? Like anybody can pay $5 a month, I
Well, it's
worked
also
my ass
not
off.
necessary. It's not. Well, there's also another stipulation. It's not just that. It's you have to have earned. You have to be a Twitter Blue subscriber, but you also have to have earned more than 5 million tweet impressions each month for the last 3 months. So you have to
So
be
there's
popular.
Yeah,
So you
yeah, but I'm
also have
saying
to. You have to
if
be a
you can
Twitter Blue
do that,
subscriber and be popular at the same time.
right?
Somewhat.
Okay, so
Somewhat
they've
popular.
already put
Maybe
the
not all of them.
stipulation in.
Yeah.
So if you're not Twitter Blue, then you're not even eligible.
Yes.
So do
Now,
you
see, that's
think
kind of
Ryan
fucked up.
Reddit's contributor program is a much easier thing for contributors, content
Say that again?
creators? Reddit's contributor program is a much easier thing for
Yes.
content
As
creators.
is as is TikTok, YouTube, because you don't have to buy in to make money,
Mhm.
right? You don't have to be a
Right.
YouTube premium subscriber to
Right.
make money on YouTube.
Mm.
So I do think that it's wrong in that respect, but I wouldn't be surprised if that changes over time. I think again, right now, what's most important? Elon Musk wants Twitter to make money, right?
Right.
He
Right. I
needs to
mean,
get out.
yeah.
Like that's the key right now is
Yeah.
like to ensure that they actually make some money. And how do you do that? Well, Twitter Blue, no ads. You can actually write a whole paragraph if you want. Like there's a whole
Yeah.
different features that Twitter Blue lets you have. And it makes sense to a degree.
Yeah. Well, I
Makes
think
sense
again,
to some degree, but
I think it's very similar to the AI thing. Like, hate it or love it, that's what it is.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah, people
So,
people are going to be annoyed. People are not going to like it, but I do
yeah.
think that
Yeah.
at least for the ones that actually aren't like, at least the ones that actually want to use it for some good, some
Right.
content,
Right.
actual content creation and stuff, right? As opposed to
Yeah.
just, sucking off Elon Musk.
Yeah,
Right. Right.
Reddit and Twitter after a decade, they just thought about paying their users and content
No, it's
creators.
after a
How,
year of
how
Elon
late
Musk.
Interesting.
how late to the party can you be?
Uh, well, I would go as far as to say Twitter was hijacked for the last few years by
Oh, I
yeah,
see.
prior to Elon Musk.
Mhm.
Like they weren't trying to make money. They
Yeah,
had
it wasn't.
a
Well, I mean, I'm sure profits was definitely important, but yeah, it
well,
wasn't.
I
It
mean,
was. It
yeah.
was more so keeping the ship going. Yeah,
Hmm.
like
They had certain things they wanted to amplify and certain things they wanted to mute, and that was basically the uh yeah, the whole process at Twitter until Elon came in and was like no, we're going to turn this into a business. Like this has to, and as a businessman, you had to look at Twitter and be like, this could make money.
yeah.
Twitter just
I mean,
evolved on its own, right? Any one of you actually remember how Twitter was actually announced to the world?
I
no.
was too
It
young.
was
Was it
it was
I don't
announced
tweet?
remember.
it was announced by I think Puff Daddy during guesting on Ellen. Like his
What?
main description for Twitter back then is he shows Ellen how it can be used, and he he claims that the main use for this is I could actually wake up this morning, I have all my followers, then I actually could actually send them a tweet with an inspirational quote when I wake up, and I could affect their lives. The
I mean, to
funny
some
thing is
degree,
the
that's true.
evolution of it now and how is being used.
To some degree, that's still true. I think.
Yeah, that's also true.
Yeah, I mean, maybe in the beginning it was
Is that the
inspirational,
prime?
but
Yeah,
now,
is that the
It was
primary
so
focus?
it
Fuck
was a
no.
really positive thing back then. Like they're selling it
yeah,
as
but
a kumbaya moment.
but
Yeah.
now
The whole
you
world.
wake up and get on Twitter. Now, if you wake up and get on Twitter, it ruins your whole fucking day.
Yeah, people actually wake up offended.
Yeah, it's like what kind of bullshit happened while I was asleep. But it's interesting. I think this the fact that it's monetized has taken Twitter from like who gives a shit about Twitter to now like maybe we should pay attention to Twitter.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I think Twitter's always been in the limelight, right? Spotlight, as it were.
Yeah, we're gonna
I
see
think
Yeah, but I
people
mean
are going to
evolution
take it
there.
more seriously, though.
right, a lot of the
Now,
detractors, right? A lot of the detractors like Chappelle said, right? Dave Chappelle, I love Dave Chappelle. Like he said they were dragging me on Twitter, but I don't care because it ain't a real place. Like one of those type things, right? Like people Twitter was kind of like, yeah, I mean, I understand everybody's there, but
I think that still rings true though. It's still not a real
yeah,
place, right?
It's
right. But now it's a place where you can make money.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
again, the stipulations are kind of high. Like 5
Yeah,
million was impressions in the
that's
last
a
3
fucking
months. I
lot.
mean, it's a
You got to
lot.
be saying
That's a
some.
lot.
You got to be saying some crazy shit to get 5 million
And
impressions.
I'm curious, like how that works. I guess across all of your
without
different tweets and
without
content, like
crossing monetization guidelines. Like that would
Mm,
be the biggest hurdle of it.
it's a big problem
right.
with Kick, right? I mean, Kick's running into that issue where people think they can just get away with whatever on Kick.
No.
It doesn't work
Mm.
like that, you know. Same thing, right?
Well,
Yeah.
let's shift gears from Twitter, who maybe a lot of people really don't care about, to crypto, who maybe a lot of people don't really care about.
All
Yeah.
right.
So what's happening in the crypto world, Christian?
Not good. Our fourth topic for today,
Good.
well, might be good for some. Former Celsius CEO Alex Mashinsky was detained on Thursday on suspicion of federal securities fraud after claims of misleading investors and manipulating the price of exchange token CEL. Federal
Yeah.
regulators and the collapsed cryptocurrency exchange agreed to a record-breaking $4.7 billion settlement. Chris, with all the issues and controversies that has plagued the cryptocurrency space in recent months, why do you think the people are slow to losing faith in it?
Because it's make believe currency, and like people like whatever the hell his name was. I'm not even going to try to say that shit. Uh,
Mashinsky.
you know, yeah, they
Yeah,
get
Alex
in this. Yeah, they get in this. I don't have it. I can't see it. I don't know. I'm not going. Yeah, I don't know. Uh, but there was this wave, right? That everybody was riding. Everybody was so high on this wave, and they're all making money, and they're all living nice. And all of a sudden, the shit falls off, and then you have to think, I need to maintain this lifestyle, and then like, you know, your ethics and everything kind of takes a hit. They start kind of, you know, finagling the bagel, if you will. Like they start fucking with the investors and like the value, because you can, which
Yeah.
is the whole problem with crypto. You can manipulate the whole fucking thing. If you're in this high position, crypto is whatever the hell you want it to be. Which is why until there's some type of regulatory commission, whether it be the Treasury or I don't know, a newly developed government department, the Department of, you know, make believe shit, then crypto will always be a problem.
I think it does have utility. Some do have utility. Some, you know, definitely have value, just like Bitcoin. I mean, Bitcoin. Now, will it change the world as they've, you know, been touting for years? No, I mean, probably not.
Right.
Will it actually like replace USD? No, no shot. But I do think there are some, like you said, I mean, look at all these people that essentially, I mean, look at NFTs. NFTs came and went so fast, like that, you know,
So
that was
fast.
essentially the same thing, right?
Right.
It added again, it helped a lot of creators, a lot of artists get their shit out there, but it also led to a lot of essentially just finance bros making buku bucks fast.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with crypto is like it's been seen as like this big, you know, get rich quick type of scheme type of thing. And a lot of these coins don't mean anything. Like Dogecoin.
Right.
I think blockchain is very important. And that's what a lot of people miss in this regard. But when it comes to Celsius, I mean, geez, like all these different you have to really be careful, especially when it comes to crypto, where you keep it, and how and where you get it from. I mean, God, most of these coins, as you said, they're make believe. You know, it's all legit on, you know, make believe, and it's a strange area. It's a strange area, and I just caution people before getting into it. Make sure you do your research. You know, make sure you do your research. I mean, obviously there are definitely good plays and bad plays out there in anything, but crypto is a scary world, and a lot of it is scam. A lot of it is a scam.
But it's hard when
I think Tom
go ahead.
Brady took a bath on the FTX thing. like
Yeah,
25,
he did.
12 or something million, something. It
As
was a
did
crazy amount.
Matt Damon, other people as well.
As well as his
Yeah.
ex-wife before they split
Mm.
up, right?
What'd you say?
Giselle?
What?
Tom Brady's Giselle actually had a deal with FTX as a spokesperson.
No
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I mean,
Yeah, they all lost their. And I seen another one where I think Bieber paid like a few million for an NFT. That shit's worth like $12 now.
it
What I
was
think
more like
about
60K, but yeah, yeah.
Well, I mean,
It's worth
yeah,
like
I mean, you
60K
know.
now, but yeah. I mean, damn near $12, right? I
I
mean,
think the
Yeah.
main
it's
appeal for
ridiculous.
this one is the reason why this isn't actually dying out. For if you look at the age bracket that are more interested in cryptocurrencies, it's not of the older generation. It's actually of the younger one. I
Yeah.
think of this as the Dire Straits philosophy, where it's money for nothing and the chicks for free.
But it's also like
Yeah.
a tech thing, right? It's like I think it's also very much a tech thing. Like people who are very
Yeah,
much interested in technology got into this like environment because
Right.
it's tech, it's cool, it's
And
hip.
that creates a couple problems, right? That creates an alienation from a lot of people, and then we say, oh, it's make believe bullshit, and they never, because I don't get it. But then it also creates this lane where you can like jargon your way into somebody's pocket. It's like, oh yeah,
And that's the thing. That's the biggest
Yeah.
thing. It's like the people that I know that I have a friend that was big into NFTs and another friend that's big into crypto, and really the only reason they're in it is to make money. I mean,
Right.
like one friend still has NFTs, he still has them, and he lost a lot of money. Yeah,
praying for a resurgence.
and
You
my
also
other
have to.
friend, it's
Yeah,
like
go
he was
ahead.
like a stocks. They essentially just use them as stocks, like they're just options, right?
Mm.
So you sold at a higher price. Obviously, it's just like that's kind of how I look at it. They're just stocks. They're just options.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
also have
that's a
to
good point.
preface that there are actually cryptos that actually earn people money, right? Those that have gotten it at an early period. But I was
Yeah.
wondering why people are still not turned off when the mere mention of it being a Ponzi scheme is being uttered by people or just that are looking into it and describing it. Like the current FTX one was a blatant Ponzi scheme.
I
Well,
think a lot of people don't care.
I think it's the same
I think
as
a lot
the
of people just
casino.
don't care.
Hard to
Mhm.
believe people don't care for something that actually crashed their market.
Yeah, but a lot of people
Customers.
are just so ingrained, so much like to the point where like that's their life, like legit, like
Mm.
the crypto, bro. Like that's a
Yeah.
legit like thing. Like people are just so like some people are just so into that like space that they just kind of don't care about what happened with FTC with the or the CFTC whatever it be, like all this stuff like FTX.
Yeah.
They all they really know is crypto, and that's like kind of like their business. Like that's what they want to do, and they keep doing it.
Well, I
I mean
mean,
the head of go ahead, you're good.
no, I was gonna say like I shit on crypto, but I do see the potential. Like eventually, it'll be there. And I kind of have the mentality sometimes. I feel like, again, if I can go with another analogy of like the evolution of time or whatever, we all know the importance of the evolution of time. I'll do my Kamala Harris impression. The importance of the evolution of time. But no, it's like imagine when banks popped up, right?
Mhm.
People were still like hiding money in the
Yep.
backyard and in their mattress because they're like, I'm not putting my hard-earned money way over there in that building that I know nothing about, right? And now
Yeah.
nobody carries cash.
Yeah.
Right. So
Well,
I see that this
I don't know.
could
They're
evolve.
not nobody, but yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, I mean, I don't, I carry cash, but cash, a lot of people don't carry cash. When I lived in the States, I very rarely had cash on me because it was just swipe, 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 like swipe for gas, swipe for food.
And how much of that was also affected by, the pandemic, right?
Right.
The thing with banks is they actually deal with real money because you could actually see them in the vaults and
Well,
they're
some
actually
banks
being
some banks
invested.
hold some banks you can I mean hold crypto and stuff, but
Aren't they left in the crypto space being mined and traded? Like that's the place they actually
yeah.
leave it. Like we have payment systems that actually use digital currency, which actually use real money and input it into reputable companies that actually have real cash and are in the stock market
Right.
and featured
Right.
that
That's
they
the
have
thing.
the
That's the
financial leverage to actually back it. When it comes to
Right. That's the thing.
cryptocurrency, no matter how much money they have, they can't actually back it with physical stuff.
Mm, yeah.
Everything's about Tinkerbell. Your strength is as much as people believe in you. Why all of a sudden,
Yeah.
if a cryptocurrency actually loses trust from people, then all of your
Yeah.
investors are suddenly gone.
Well, I think the big thing about crypto is the fact that it kind of is safe. It's safe money, right? Like if you're going through a divorce, put it all in crypto because they're not gonna your wife won't get it. Like it's just like
Oh,
it's just right.
actually,
Same thing with like money laundering, all this dumb shit, right? Like illegal shit. Like that's why
yeah.
crypto is looked at negatively, is because it's in a gray area. You know, it's a very much a
Yeah.
gray area, and again, safe to a degree, right? Like you can keep your money safe there, and it's almost like it almost acts like a bank to a degree.
Right.
Um, if you know don't keep it at Celsius.
Right. Yeah. Well, these major I don't even know if you call them corporations, I guess. These big wigs in this thing, like back to my original point, like the NFTs, once, like you said, the crypto bros, right? That's what they know.
That's what they love.
And you imagine the thing that you love is no longer doing what it did for you before. So, you start telling investors, like I said, you jargon people into people's pockets, like, oh yeah, well, in the third quarter, there's going to be a spike because of it. And the people are just like, he knows, right? He's the CEO of this company.
Yeah.
So it's very, I feel like it's very, fuck, what's the word? It's really, it really makes, these guys want to like do whatever because they can't do it. You know what I'm saying? It's appealing. It's very appealing to these guys. Oh, if I tell them this, then they'll invest a couple more million and I can take, my birthday trip or whatever. And then it just kind of gets out of hand, just like gambling, I think.
Like Chris,
I mean,
let's
that
scroll
is
back to
crypto is gambling. Like it is
Definitely.
yeah.
gambling.
Chris, let's take a stroll on memory lane for a bit. Among the three of us here, you've actually featured a lot of cryptocurrency players in Tech Times exclusive. Uh, what is the major appeal for them? What is their sell? What do you think?
Potential.
The potential?
The potential. Because it has a lot of potential. And I think that's really what people get a hard on for, is that one day cryptocurrency will replace physical. It's one of those type things. They want to get in early.
I'm no crypto guy, but I do see that the fact that there is utility in crypto in some areas, but and blockchain, I think most importantly, blockchain more than crypto. But I was going to mention earlier, and the head of YouTube gaming, Ryan Fwiz, he left the company about 2 years ago, I think, and he's now the head of Polygon or Matic, Matic. And what he's doing over there is pretty special. Like barring all the negatives that we get from crypto, I think some of the biggest stuff, like with gaming, so Polygon just released some thing with the blockchain with Warner Music. So they're gonna start putting music on the blockchain, and like just like concepts like this is what kind of makes crypto, I think, special, because it's endless. Like it's really endless what you can do with the technology. It's just like it's just stuck in this like negative light constantly of people losing money and fraud, lots of fraud. And that's the problem. A lot of people use crypto for the wrong reasons.
Right.
But the tech is there.
Yeah, the tech is definitely there. And to get back to Christian's question, I think that is really what the people that invest, time and a lot of money and a lot of time and like, because they know.
There are some that I think have good intentions when they actually made cryptocurrency.
Oh, absolutely.
The thing is, I think the evolution didn't actually catch up to it. Like it actually evolved too fast before the culture actually was able to keep up.
I just look at Bitcoin. Who made Bitcoin? We don't even fucking know. Like the shadiness of that fact.
They
right?
said
The
it's
shadiness.
a random Japanese guy, right?
Yeah, the shadiness and just its own like background is draws a lot of people away, I think. And again, it's gambling. It is gambling.
It is.
There's no getting around that.
Like you
So
said,
is stock trading, right? Similar, and it's identical in that regard.
I mean, you go to any casino, it's full of people.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we like to gamble. As a species, we like to gamble.
I think the
Fucking
biggest problem,
skydivers.
again, it's the fact that there's so many bad actors in crypto because it's so easy to make, to use it in negative ways.
Yeah. And
I mean,
right now,
some
I
of the
think
biggest
it's,
ways
I think
back in the day. How about Silk Road? Silk Road and Silk Road 2, when those things were big. Like those were huge for young audiences using
right.
Bitcoin or whatever it be, Solana, all this stuff to buy drugs and guns and whatever from online sites.
Right.
Essentially the black market. Like it's like clearly, clearly it's not, all perfect. It's not gonna be all perfect.
Right. Well, I
Have
feel
you
like
guys
it's
ever experienced a cryptocurrency platform actually advertising how to avoid cryptocurrency scams?
I don't think they know how.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, it's coming up so fast.
You're saying, like, have I ever seen, like, say Bitcoin, for instance?
Let's say Bitcoin actually made a statement or announced, here are the ways you could actually avoid being scammed when it comes to cryptocurrency. Here are the things to look for. Here are the red flags. Any 1-to-1 ratio of trade is actually suspicious. Like, has any one of them actually made a statement regarding red flags?
I think so. I can't give you anything off the top of my head or, give you an example, but I think I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if one of the big ones did. I would not be surprised.
But I mean, as soon as the way technology moves and those people that, like, the bad actors you're talking about, they are bad actors full time.
The stories we keep hearing regarding these cryptocurrencies and who are getting caught, they're just getting caught because of their stupidity. Like, these are not
the problem.
Being hunted down by sleuths or smart people. They're just dumb. That's why they're caught.
Well, greedy.
And there's no getting around that, right?
Yeah.
Right.
The current, I think the pump and dump scheme, they've actually advertised on Twitter that's what they're doing, which is actually illegal. The FTX thing, putting an experienced CEO in front of a camera and giving stupid answers to basic questions.
And these are things that people have spotted years in the past, but never really came to light.
That's
people
my
knew about
thing
FTX.
here. Like,
people knew about Enron, but that Enron was still going. Like, it's just like that stuff. Like, if it keeps the wheels churning, right? People are making money. People are making money. Why are they going to get pissed, right?
Yeah.
The FTX thing. People are making money beyond just SBF. Samuel.
Yeah, a lot of
Fried
people, even the government actually invested in the guy, right? The Democratic Party actually invested in.
Why shut down something good? Why shut it down, right? I mean, again, going back to the Enron, people knew that thing was not, in good straits, but it kept going because people were making money. Look at the stocks, right? Follow the money. Always follow the money, right?
Yeah, if the red flags
especially
are
in crypto,
stupid people, I don't think it would be hard for them
I think
to post guidelines.
Crypto is scary in the regard that what I was saying is, keeping your money safe. I wouldn't doubt that there's a lot of criminals out there that have money in crypto, and it's kept safe because of that, right? I mean,
well, I mean, an interesting fact in the U.S. alone, there are almost 22 million millionaires. How many of these guys pop up on the news or being like fraudulent and all? You know what I'm saying? So you get
I get
Enron guys,
vast majority of them, right?
Yeah.
What's the saying? How's the saying go? You don't get to millions without breaking a few eggs, whatever this phrase is. You don't get to that point without screwing some people over. In other words, right? I mean,
I don't think they make the news because they know how to rig the system. That's the thing.
I mean, I think the system is incredibly riggable. If
it's in a gray area. It's very much a gray area, and it's easy to get around this kind of stuff because the SEC doesn't really have any ways to. I mean, NFTs came and went so fast because there was no regulation around it, and that's the problem. There's the whole point of crypto is no regulation at all.
Yeah,
that's the problem, right? I mean, that's why criminals and fraudsters are using it so much. It's because it's what's the phrase? I can't think of the word. Unregulated. I mean,
Yeah, and that's
What do you
kind
guys
of
think?
I
Right, Chris?
think that's why crypto has a lot of trouble is because the government. I need like a Chris, I need you to edit whenever I get on these tangents. I need you to edit in like
No, we're
conspiracy
keeping
theory
it.
music. No, don't edit it out. I want you
I'll just
you
put
to
in
add
elevator
like
music for you.
yeah, no, some conspiracy type music because I think just like marijuana was all right. The history, real quick, the history of marijuana was bad mouth because it would have been a great replacement for paper, right? And the paper companies who were huge, I don't remember his name. I'm sure somebody in the comments will, do some research or something. I'm not going to do it, but the paper mill companies were huge, and they shit on marijuana and turned it into this terrible, terrible thing because they didn't.
When was this?
This was early.
Excuse me.
This was early in the U.S. Like obviously not cowboy days, but
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we're talking
Right around,
early
like-
1900s.
yeah, like early 1900s. Yeah,
Because the way I see it too is like the war on drugs was like
yeah,
a farce essentially, right?
right. Yeah, yeah, incredibly. And the government kind of played into it because the process to grow and use marijuana can be done by anybody.
Yeah.
Like it's easier to grow than corn. You know what I'm saying? Like it's incredibly simple, and there's no extra processes. Like you just lay the shit on a napkin for like a day and then burn it the next day. You're good. But
Are we making
until
a
the
tutorial
government,
here?
but this is my closing argument. But the government fought against marijuana until they developed a plan to be able to regulate it. Where now it's still difficult.
Essentially tax it.
Essentially tax it. Yeah. So now they do. And Colorado alone, within the first year, I think, I don't know how many millions of dollars they generated in tax revenue from the sale of marijuana alone. So crypto, which is here to disrupt the whole financial system, will be shunned, and the people in crypto will be hunted and will be brought to justice by these government agencies because the government cannot yet profit from crypto.
Yeah, I love that you told that story, even though it's a Tech Talks After Dark thing. But I was
He's
actually
absolutely right.
I was gonna ask you this question. Do you think an oversight committee is actually needed, even though the main appeal for cryptocurrency is actually the anonymity of the blockchain?
Yes, I think an oversight committee is absolutely necessary. Will one exist? No.
I mean, I don't know if that's even a word. It's non-tangible. Like, how do you regulate something you can't control?
I mean, the SEC the SEC gets involved with almost everything when it comes to that, but like, I think it goes against what crypto is all about,
Yeah. But I mean, unless you do every crypto coin as an NFT, then it's going to be really difficult. Like serial numbers on dollar bills. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Like, I think
I mean,
as long as it's a supplementary thing and not the first priority when it comes to our finances, it will always be seen that way. Like as something a bit more untrustworthy in a sense when it comes to value. And the guy who was actually arrested, Mashinsky, is not actually helping their cause. Like, if there was an oversight committee that actually needs to exist, it should come from them.
Like the crypto industry.
Yeah, the crypto guys, industry should actually
Crypto
be the
gods.
one holding the oversight committee.
And that's again, this goes back to like what I said about Bitcoin, right? We don't even know who created Bitcoin, so
yeah.
like,
But those that are actually existing, might actually
that's like
want to do it.
who do you hire? Who do you put on? Who? I mean, like, there's so many questions to that. Like, who do you put on this?
well, that's like asking
do you put like the people already in charge? Do you put like before he got arrested, would SBF be on there? Sam Breckford?
Yeah, I mean that's what I was going to say. It's like
That'd be terrible.
it's like asking the wolves to guard the herd.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it would be the same thing
I
as the
think
US election, by the way.
regulations. Hey, regulation would absolutely help that space. But
It
again,
needs to be.
they don't
It
want
needs
that.
to
They
be.
don't want regulation.
If there's an oversight committee, it needs to be old white men. We know that's a proven formula that works.
So fucking specific.
and a couple old ass ladies too. We can get a couple old ass ladies in there, but it's got to be old people.
Do you guys own
that's
crypto?
how. No,
Are you guys just suggesting that we get babysitters for these kids?
no, I'm suggesting
Yeah.
the U.S.
Yes.
government. It's the U.S. government. It's old white men and old ladies.
I don't know if it. I don't know, man. I don't know if it should be necessarily the government, but I do think there should be some financial body, some entity that's also global, right? Not just the U.S., but like global, like NATO,
World Bank
for crypto. Like
George Soros?
something. So I don't know, some sort of regulatory board, some like its own SEC, right? I think crypto
Like a
should have its
WHO
own
for
form
money.
of SEC.
We already have an
Yeah.
oversight committee regarding dumping radiation in water. Like
That's the pump and dump right there, boy. That's the pump and dump. But all right, gentlemen. I think this podcast was maybe longer than NFT's life. You know what I mean? We've been here for a couple hours. I think NFTs really had their 15 minutes of fame. But
more than 15.
yeah, I mean, yeah, well, all right. So I'm not going to NFTs is a great idea because of what they are, right? Non-fungible. Like you can't screenshot an NFT and then say that you have an. That's not how it works. Like there is a lineage of ownership, which I believe, if crypto is going to work, then we kind of have to combine that NFT aspect of ownership to every single crypto coin. You have to.
But they already do. It's a block, like that's the blockchain.
That's the
I think
blockchain.
the issue in regards to cryptocurrency is actually just the transparency when it comes to trading on how they claim the valuation of their coin is. Because if you claim 1-to-1, one coin would equal $1, how can you sustain that when it comes to trading? Like pretty much the dollar isn't actually built that way, and that thing is pretty damn durable.
The ones that are worse, the ones that are pegged to the dollar, the ones that are like essentially follow the ups and downs of the U.S. dollar or whatever it be, Japanese, the yen, whatever it be. Those are the scary ones, I think, because those can change at any minute.
If any cryptocurrency expert is actually watching, we would love you to guest on the show and actually have it at us, explain the nuances of it. Like it would be beneficial for us,
or just even maybe not even
audience.
a investor, right? Someone in that space for sure.
Yeah, somebody. Yeah, crypto bro, where are you?
Educate us.
Yeah. Actually, yeah. I mean, crypto's great if you know what's up. It's dangerous, but I mean, what the hell? Crossing the street's fucking dangerous. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just the way things are. If you're willing to take a risk, just if you get rich on crypto, try not to forget that it's a glass ceiling, but it's also a glass floor. Like as quick as you go up, that shit could fall right out from under you. And don't defraud your investors or they will get you.
Yeah.
Because the government does not like competition.
They will perp walk you out of your classrooms.
They will. They will come get you in your fucking penthouse and delete all your shit. But yeah.
Don't
all
be
right.
Stupid.
Yeah. But that's it for us this week. Yeah, please, if you have anything to say or anything to add or anything to contradict or whatever, please feel free to. And if you know your shit and you want to come on and educate us, you're more than welcome on anything that we talk about, not just crypto, anything. If you know about,
absolutely,
any of this shit, come on here and educate us. We would love it. But yeah, for me and Christian and Ryan, have a great week, and we'll see y'all next time.